And there was silence. It's like we're all being good in the classroom, eh? Folks, welcome to the Hotbox show, and as always, we'll be talking dank. Guys, happy quarter to Friday.
Happy quarter to Friday.
Yo,
happy to call it nearly Friday, yeah.
Been getting grilled already since 4:20. Yes. Our special guests this evening are Kai and Dave from Green Grow Room. They're going to be walking us through a bit of a gadget lately. But this week we're going to be discussing using weed before work. We're going to find out why SAHPRA is under fire from BFASA. And we're going to be testing some bud potency on this kiff ganja gadget over here. So, Oaks, roll a tight one. Come get lit and tune out with us. Looking forward to having some fun with you, Oaks, tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, it's been a long week, huh?
It's been a bit of a long week, but it's been alright.
So before we get on to this week's Dancam, the Zol poll is, do you toke before work? And these Oaks boss is here somewhere, so we mustn't out them too much. But you guys at home, please vote on the poll. Yep, nope, before, during, and after. Dan, do you smoke before work?
It depends on what the day's like. If I'm crunching numbers, designing on the computer, I've got to put my thinking cap on and make sure I keep numbers and budgets in line. No, I try not to smoke before. But if I'm on site and I'm actually getting handy and I'm working around and I'm doing that, then yeah, I've got no problem with having a smoke before.
Before and during and after?
Yeah, during lunchtime break, have a smoke. Afterwards, of course, have another one. Yeah.
Okay.
But not if I'm, like I was saying, if I'm really needing to make sure numbers are right, then I'll try and just leave it for after work.
Yeah.
Then it's for after work.
Or anything that involves losing a finger.
No, not really. I don't really mind smoking before using heavy machinery.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've always have, actually.
Doctors for Life are gonna hate you, bro. You're the worst enemy, dude.
Yes. But I'm still here. All my fingers are here. So
You do.
know how to use your equipment and yeah.
10 fingers, 10 toes, dude.
That's it.
That's it.
Joe?
I'm a before, during, and after kind of person, but not every single day. Again, also it depends on what I need to do for the day. I find that my spreadsheets and my budgeting and shit goes a lot smoother if I smoke before. Because it stops the rest of the chaos
The
in my
noise,
mind
yes,
and allows me to just focus on that one thing.
Yeah.
And also if I'm doing a physical thing, crafting, painting, cleaning, less so, honestly, if I'm driving around too much.
Okay.
Because then I know it's going to run out and I'm going to want more, and I don't like carrying too much weed with me because I don't trust the cops.
Yeah.
And definitely after. The last thing I do before I close my eyes is I have a joint.
Yo, we're naughty. Dave?
About before, during, and after. There's no fail without a doubt. I mean, our days revolve around the plants. We smoke at the shop. We've got the rooftop where you can come to the Green Grow Room and have a smoke.
It's a lovely rooftop.
Because I know that they've got a low-key private space at the Green Grow Room. So you can't rock up and smash a bong in the shop, but literally right next door to the shop with the door, there's a nice balcony.
Yeah.
Private space.
Private space.
That's it. So I mean, yeah, being our shop, being the environment we're in, I smoke before, during and after work without a doubt. It sees the flow of the day easier, helps me deal with the different customers that are coming in, different personalities we have to deal with. So yeah.
And maybe you're right. If the customer's going to come in all 420,
Yeah.
you got to be on the 420
Yeah.
FM
I used to
too.
be a bartender. I had to drink if I wanted to make a tip, because if I wasn't on the same wavelength as those people, it wasn't going to happen.
I suppose you're very right there. Yeah.
I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Kai?
I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of a wake and bake.
Yeah.
I don't smoke every day before work. Some mornings I come into the office and then get through after the day. I'll be like, oh, I haven't had a smoke yet, and then I'll go have my smoke. So yeah, just very much dependent on the day, what I've got to accomplish, what my mindset is as well. But during sometimes, yeah, as Dave said, you know, we're in the industry, so if we're going to light up, and you know, sometimes guys bring us a little bit of bud to test out, you know, have a taste of what I've grown, and we're like, oh, let's give it a go, why not?
It's part of the job description,
Yeah,
though,
it's
isn't
job
it?
description.
Yes,
It's,
yes.
you know, it's then obviously, you know, the bedtime toke is always
Compulsory.
the best. Yeah, most of the time I would say.
It's
Most
cherry
of the
on
time.
the top of the day.
Yeah, it just
And you,
gets
Buzz?
sets the tone.
I'm a slave to the machine, but I'm also a slave to Mary Jane. So I saw like you were nodding here saying it makes the Excel and the budgets go better. Sometimes it does that for me. If I'm going to be doing like photos or something that I really need to focus on for long, I'll get pretty grilled, hey? It's almost like a performance enhancer in a way.
Yes.
But I admit it's a double-edged sword. There's days when I feel like I shouldn't have had a morning joint. And I think,
It depends also on what you're smoking. If you cap yourself with the wrong joint first thing in the morning and all you want to do is climb back into bed,
Get
that's
yourself some
not
Gorilla
productive.
Glue or something.
get glued, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, guys. You Oak say before, during, after?
All day. Depends.
This Oak saying all day, every day. You're saying it depends, eh?
Depends on what I got to do, yeah.
Yeah. You almost got to plan ahead, you know. It's like we're trying to be responsible in a way.
Well, it's like we say, well, like I try to follow, don't wake up or don't smoke and then find something to do or figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Have
It's
a
not
plan, smoke, and then execute. Because then you go into it with a plan already that you already figured out, okay, I've got to do it in this order, now I can smoke and then I can get back to what I was doing. If you
Gotta
blazing and
accept
you
yourself.
haven't got a plan for the day and you're like, "Oh, let's blaze and we'll think of something to do. Fuck, bro.
The
You're
very
going
first
to
thing
go
you
in
have to do
circles.
is a to-do
You're
list.
going to go in circles. You're not
Yeah.
going to accomplish what you'd wanted to do properly. I guarantee you won't, because you'll be so fucking like around haphazard.
Gotta
plan,
do that
smoke,
inception.
You've got to have a
Productivity
to-do
is
list,
key.
and if you can't
Accept
do it in the
yourself.
morning before you wake and bake, then make sure you do it at night before you
Whatever it
your
is,
cherry
exactly.
on
Have the
top.
plan already before you get high.
Maybe the trick is to write the to-do list on your wrist, and you can only smoke that section once you tick that bit off. And it can't be like that Tropica ad where you get to the bottom one by smoking through the rest. There, because I've seen Oaks market with their friends as well. You know, you go in on a gram, times are harsh. You know, you roll that fat joint and you mark it out.
But I find if I do smoke in the daytime, it's one joint. And I'll have a couple of drags, I'll let it go out, I'll do some things, I'll come back to it an hour or two later, a couple of drags, and like by 6 at night, maybe it's finished. That's
Okay.
just if I'm chilling at home. I don't go heavy. What's the point?
How long is
When
this
I'm doing
joint, Joe?
physical-
This long?
No, it's what Brad rolls for me. You know what Brad rolls.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cone, but
I find I smoke a shitload more when I'm doing physical work.
Yeah.
When I'm grafting and I'm doing it either working with plants, working with building, working with anything that I'm doing,
Sweating, bro.
and I'm active, I can fucking smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke fucking 100 joints through the day, and I'm fucking on point and I'm going through it. It's just, I don't know, you just don't get
it's a performance enhancing.
it's really cool.
It is.
Then you finish the end of the day, you get in the car and you drive home and you're like, I can smoke another one.
On the way to smoke another one. It's like that shit. I like to get high on the way to get
And you've
high.
had such a fucking productive day, you're like, fuck yes, nothing's taking me down. Smoke another one.
Shoal, you before, during, after?
It depends, but the earlier I wake up, the more likely I am to smoke. You know, if, I like to wake up at 5
Yeah.
and then have a good solid vape, and then I can zone out for an hour or two. And
That's
start my day on a peaceful note.
It is a nice way to start a day, particularly on a weekend, hey?
Oh, the
Yes.
best. Wake up on a
Yes.
Saturday or Sunday morning,
Nowhere to be in a
That
hurry.
wake
Coffee
and
and
bake.
joint in bed, bruh.
Because like you said,
One of
sometimes
those
you
wake
have
and
that.
bake mugs.
You sneak that wake and bake up in the morning during the week, and it's the wrong weed, and then you're like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
this was stupid.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Are you going
Damn
to
it.
work and you're worried because you're worried that your fucking dank smells like
But-
clothes? You're so loud, bro. Not even
I know,
good.
fuck that.
You know,
The thing
it's
is
not
with
like
that is
dank.
that you start in the morning and you have that one joint, and because you've had that joint now, nothing satisfies essentially that you
I
can
was
smoke.
gonna say-
You can just like, oh, roll another one, roll another one.
Mm.
If you suspend it for like say until lunchtime, midday, then you smoke. Then you get that like, okay, I can smoke another one, I can smoke another one. But if you wake up and you have a joint first thing, fuck, 2 hours later you're ready to roll another one, not even thinking. You're in that fucking mode, you're going.
And by the time you hit your last one for the nightcap, it's not really catching anymore.
Yeah, that's why you got to put
The-
all the,
the
you got to make it
earlier
a
I
Jeffrey.
smoke,
You got to
the
put the
less
fucking
like
stuff
I
in the
am.
stuff on the stuff around the stuff
Yeah.
and make it.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
just-
I've actually sat in bed
Yeah.
sometimes contemplating edibles, but I know it's going to take an hour to kick in because
Before
I've
sleep,
smoked
before
too
it kicks
early in
in.
the day, and then my bedtime joint isn't catching, and I'm like, fuck, how am I going to sleep now?
No, you can't.
Yeah, edibles are another thing because maybe it's not just smoking before work. What if you chow edibles before grass?
I can now would never.
Never. I'm like define work. Fortnight, maybe.
Going to work on smashing, binge watching that series, yes.
Oh, sorry, babe.
That's the only work I can do on edibles.
So-
Maybe
Rizzle down
fishing.
Hmm?
there. You got Rizzle down there.
I got baby ones. We got some Riz there as well.
Oh, wait, there, yeah, there's the
whole
pulp.
selection.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
Got
Hang on, thank you.
So guys, before we get on to this week's Dane Cam, please remember to vote in the Zol poll. Do you toke before work? No? Definitely before, during and after. Remember hashtag Hotbox Show on the socials? Like, share, subscribe. But let's take a minute to look at what we're dabbing and toking tonight.
What it looks like.
So,
Are you running? Sorry.
mhm.
Can't see you there.
Silence.
The sound.
Okay, here we are, we're coming back in. There we go.
You pan it in? Just a little bit.
A little bit. It's
Pan
go
it
that
to the
way.
table, so we don't see Buzz's foot there.
There we go.
There we go.
See some grapes, some Rizzler, and some paper and stuff. So yeah, what we're talking on tonight, as you can see, there's a big sheet of some goodness. Tucked away there.
The dab Rorschach, eh?
Oh, that looks yummy.
Yep.
I can't wait to put that in my face.
It's like a smushed smiley face.
It smells like
Looks like it.
sunlight soap.
Smells like sunlight
Smells
soap.
like sunlight
This-
soap. I don't know.
The smell.
It does. It's.
It's so
And
nice.
then
I'm gonna grab a little bit and taste it.
I'll try and get this into focus, guys. This is going to be a bit of a.
I don't think it's on infinity.
It is. Let me go here. Hold on.
Really does.
Really?
One of those bricks.
Either way, it's a nug, Oaks.
It's
A good looking nug.
It does not taste like sunlight soap.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can certainly smell the citrus and the lemon.
Tap it.
Citrusine
Yeah,
terpenes.
citrus and terpenes
Yeah, I
coming
did.
over there.
But it does smell like you would use it to clean something. Your soul.
There we go.
Chest, lungs.
There we go.
Good thing.
Once
That
you-
annihilate me.
I can't.
So that's just some nugs that we got you on the table. I'm not quite sure what it is, but just it's dank as we can see. It looks good. Looks good. So yeah.
Trying.
It's gonna make me sneeze that dab.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, and
I know
that's-
when a dab makes me sneeze.
That's fine.
I see we're all representing on the Shwag as well. I checked Dan's repping Lux today. Joe's repping Green
I
Grow
got
Room
Green
and
Grow
Hotbox.
Room and Hotbox.
I checked you repping Green Smoke Room, bro.
There we go.
Lank Green Smoke Room swag, eh? And to some OG's old skunk, eh?
Skunk magazine.
So folks, before we get on to this week's CBDNN, please remember to vote in the Zol poll. And also just going to do a quick shout out because I don't want to leave it to last. Just going to say happy birthday to our missing friend Jules. Bro, it's just not the same without you. So many people say the same thing even about the show, but we're thinking about you, bro. Never going to stop thinking about you. So those of you who knew Jules or are missing him, blaze the extra fat one, you know.
Extra fat one.
Mo Fire
On Saturday, right?
on Saturday.
Saturday would
That's
be his
it.
birthday.
So...
Find
yeah.
a friendly cop and tell him to go and fuck himself on behalf of Jules.
So this story went all over. It even got recycled by a few popular blogs. The main story was in Times Live. Can you smoke dagga before work? The CCMA ruling suggests that you can if it doesn't impair your performance. At a recent hearing of the CCMA, Commissioner Nomsa Mbeleni ordered the reinstatement of a factory worker who had been fired after reporting for duty under the influence of dagga.
How do you tell that?
So, exactly. So what had happened is this guy, he rocked up at work, at this farm or whatever, and he was red-eye.
His eyes were like.
The supervisor checked, he was red-eye.
Red-eye
And he
Jedi.
said, maybe you should go home, because maybe you got flu or something. This happened last year though, pre-C word, before there was all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, you look like you got flu or something, maybe you should go home. And I was like, no, I'm not sick, I'm here to work, boss. I just smoked a fat Zol before coming to work. And the boss was like, So ultimately, they then decided to fire him. Outright, they fired the oak. One, I got to respect the oak's balls though for saying,
Yeah.
hey, I'm just grilled, but I'm here to graft, eh? Because also maybe it's a job that doesn't require much thinking if it's
Yeah.
like picking apples or something.
Oh,
So they don't
packing
say
boxes,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So he stood by it. It sounds like it did kick off between him and his boss a bit, but they fired him ultimately. He took them to the CCMA, and the CCMA ruled, yeah, you know what? So what? He said he smokes all, but can you prove he was impaired?
Exactly.
Was he not fit to do his job?
Did he not report for duty
Because
that
they
morning?
allowed him to do his job for the day, from what I could work
Is
out
it,
from
eh?
that article, yeah. They allowed him to
Finish
work
the day.
stoned and then
then
called him
fired
in
him.
and said, listen, no, cool, go, like, now we have issues.
That's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right at all.
And that formed part of the reason why they said, but I mean, you let him work.
Yeah.
So
Why did you let him finish if you think he was impaired? Yeah.
You know what?
If the truck driver arrives drunk, you're not going to let him do his rounds and then go home.
yeah, exactly.
You know.
Doesn't
So,
matter how important
yeah,
that
what's up with
delivery
that?
is.
That is kind of weird, eh?
Yeah.
What was also weird is they made him do a drug test. But why? The oak's like,
I smoked.
I told you. I told you.
Yay! What drugs are we testing today?
exactly. Yeah, it was a hell of a story. But to see that the CCMA has now made a distinction between, you know, yes,
Impairment.
having it in your system, but being impaired. Because it's not like doing a bump or, you know, doing a this or a that within a day or two, it's out your system. We've always known with weed, it's in your system for ages, for like up to a month.
Yeah, if
So-
you're a heavy smoker, up to 2 months.
So testing's always going to come out on the wrong side of your use either way. But it is nice to see now that impairment. But what do you think is impaired? Because we're having fun with the poll and that, but surely there is a limit. DFL will always say, imagine you're going for surgery for your triple bypass and the guys just smashed a bong of glue. Hey, do you really want him doing your triple bypass?
Well, if it cures his shakes in his hands, then yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So my general rule would be, if you don't feel fit to drive, then perhaps you're not fit to do anything else that requires heavy machinery.
But we can't
You've
let
got to
this
work
be...
it on your own tolerance levels as well.
So you're saying judge for yourself?
Yeah, I'm saying judge for yourself.
Or they can install a machine like in the cars in America where you have to blow that thing in the car before you can drive your car.
But then will it have? Will there be like a limit? Will it count
How
scientific
the
terms
veins in your
around
eyeballs or
breath
something.
and shit like that?
Because it's not necessarily in your breath either. What about the edibles?
Exactly.
Again, you know.
Or if you've been taking oral capsules because you have arthritis and you find that it helps
Yeah.
your joints.
And it's your tolerance.
Your joints.
Your
Tolerance,
tolerance would play a big role in how impaired you would or wouldn't be. So it's a very
So if you smoke
So-
gang, go for it, in a way.
yeah, almost, yes. Because I mean, like I've sat alongside some guys with a low tolerance, smoked what I've smoked, and they've definitely become impaired off of a third of what I would smoke, for example. You know, they become speechless almost, and that's a lot lower tolerance than me. So you know, you'd have to throw that at me 6 times to get the same reaction. So, but then how does an officer decide that?
Yeah, the
How,
law
you know,
would
that
never-
all in the CCMA. How is it that's the question.
How do you judge
How
that?
do you
then?
judge that?
Mm.
Yes.
So it's one of those things that I think it's going to go through. It's going to go through its own things in there. But maybe a better question then to ask is what jobs shouldn't be allowed while high? Because I know you're saying like self-regulate, but that's saying like I see it with booze oaks sometimes as well, and I see it with stoners. Maybe you shouldn't be driving or handling that power tool right now.
Yeah.
Hey, but you're deciding yourself. Maybe that does need to be decided within reason, dude. Maybe if you're handling my kids and stuff like that, maybe I don't know. Surely there must be limits, or does everything go? You know, get grilled before doing anything is okay.
I think there should be reasonable limits. Within reason.
I think if you're flying a Boeing 747 with about 1,000 passengers, whatever it is on it, you
Shouldn't
shouldn't be allowed to
getting
get
drift.
out any other way
Even
out of
coffee,
your
Even
fucking
coffee.
your
Yeah.
most sober state mind as possible,
Yeah.
because fuck, that's a lot of lives on the line. If I'm operating a jackhammer and there's no one around me and I crush my foot because I was high, it's my fucking problem. I'm an idiot.
Mm.
I'm not taking anyone else's risks. I'm not harming anyone else. I think that's maybe where they could sort of put a very fucking skew line.
But then, you know, where would the line go when it's a boss potentially prosecuting an
Because all
An
the
employee.
for all the boss knows, they could be firing the most diligent worker, and the reason they are the most diligent worker is because they come to work stoned.
Yeah, you know, they're able to focus, they're able to perform. Maybe they're stuck behind a desk, yes, but then he finds out about it. The production is there, but the boss is anti-420, could we say? And that's, you know,
Find a job that is not anti-420, and then you're good, I guess.
Oh, so like in the Wednesday Star, there needs to be a 420 section for
Yeah.
jobs, bro. 420 friendly, eh?
Yeah.
But then they have like a whole another thing, because nothing about they're gonna have lawyers that protect them through all the shit that they go through. But if you're gonna go and sign up for a job and say, well, I'm an active stoner that smokes, at least if you put it out there, they say, well, then we don't really cover you. You know, unfortunately, the insurance is not going to cover it. So come to work, do your thing. If you hurt yourself, it's your problem. If you stone,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm
But
not
then-
saying that's how it should be.
But then let's put the pressure on, because they're like stoners, we go around ourselves in circles. But you said pilots. You know, you're flying
I think
passengers.
someone that's got someone else's life in their hands.
Mm.
Yes.
But then maybe that applies to driving as well then.
If there's someone in the car, yes. If
But
there's
what
bus
about the
driver.
Oakers
Even
driving
on the
past
road.
you?
past you? Yeah, that also is true.
Like maybe I don't want the bus driver to be that grilled.
No, but like Buzz is saying, what about the dude on
Not full
What
grilled.
about the guy that's driving the car in that
Next to
lane
you,
coming
yeah.
towards you?
Yes.
Is he allowed to drive? Because he hits you, he's going to kill you.
Yeah, no, that's
And there's
very
no one in
true.
his car.
Stepping
Are
into
we
some
doing
dangerous
Dr.
territory.
Lennox?
So
But-
yeah,
but-
very
that-
skewed
that's
line,
also-
like I said.
it's
like
couple
just
minutes
moving.
it's incredibly skewed, because then, you know, he may have smoked the same amount as driver B, but not have been half as impaired.
Mm.
So then what's the common thing where you do? Just say no.
That's-
And
heavy
how
machinery
badly
allowed
is
to be
impaired
operated
from
while
being
stoned.
stoned
Don't
anyway
drive
compared
heavy
to
machinery.
impairment from alcohol?
We did the driving test,
Yeah.
and even that guy, he was running the alcohol test for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says after beer 3, things go downhill. And then from there it is exponentially depending on the person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some guys were still alright on 3, but if 80% of the people on the day start failing at 3, then everyone is failing technically at 3. The other people just handle it better.
Yes.
And he was very impressed with the low level of impairment that was shown that day when we were smoking like
Some of our
bats
driving
and-
got better and better the more grilled we got.
You
I think
said-
the only people that battled were the people who'd never smoked before.
He said the only thing he noticed was the way
Which you
we
would expect.
make decisions, the sharper turns. It's not as smooth. It's
More
like
reactive.
a reaction than actually going into it and thinking
It's
about
like,
it.
oh, fuck.
So a bit of that paranoia maybe, or you know, because
Yeah.
that's like a child basically.
Mm.
You know, so
Very
it's like
interesting, actually.
But on average, we did slow down.
yes,
we did.
Yeah.
but that guy
I got
said
faster.
you just drive a car.
And what was something that really came up, I know a devil's advocate a little bit earlier about people making this decision themselves. All those people who weren't smokers and who smoked and then drive said it was the last thing they wanted to really do when they thought about it. They said there was nothing that would drive them to get in the car in that state. They were
Yeah.
so aware of themselves. I find that with
The
with
weed
stone.
regulates you itself. That's what the self-regulation is. It tells you straight away, no, dude, you should not be driving.
Don't do
And
this.
the difference between stuff. Okay, me, that's right.
You don't want to put people that work in food stores. You don't allow them to smoke anymore because then you're gonna have a problem.
Stop.
Imagine
will be a
stoners
big
running
issue.
around like the fucking deli section and checking all the cakes. They're gonna fucking eat it all. Then we got problems.
You're gonna open your Pringles. There's gonna be a
Yes,
couple
a couple
missing,
missing.
resealed.
Packs
with
open and
the
closed
wrist.
again. Maybe not in the food sector either.
But
Stoner waiters.
So
Just
you-
a chip quickly.
you guys mostly said people in transport, though.
Yeah, I believe transport's more
Dave,
thing.
if there was a job that you were like, weed, no, what job would you think?
I don't know. I think it's pretty compatible with every job used in the correct manner. Really, I think it. Even doctors, they can use it on the spiritually recreational side to get away from it. So not necessarily to do it on the job. So
To deal with the job.
I think all jobs. I really think that's how much I believe in the plant. Anybody can benefit from it if used correctly. Just know
that's if used correctly.
boundaries with the plant and it will benefit you. So I'm not against anybody using it, to be honest.
Okay. In
I
moderation.
promote absolutely everybody. It's what I'm all about, pretty much. So yes, use correctly, yes, in moderation, yeah. But I would say anyone. I'd be happy to go under the knife of a surgeon that's using cannabis correctly. As you said, the self-regulation. If he's a true surgeon and true to his name, yes, I know there are people in this world that will take advantage, but
There's
he
always gonna
knows
be
his
some
capabilities, and I don't think somebody of that type, caliber, would go under the knife knowing that he can't complete what he's taking the task to do. And if cannabis relaxes him, if cannabis eases his mind, because that's stressful, I mean, let him go for it. If the truck driver slows his truck down and drives a bit slower, then let him smoke.
Unfortunately, truck drivers are all on like crystal and fucking taking it uppers at the truck stops.
Yeah.
They start smoking weed
So-
at big bongs. Yeah.
And surgeons are also on uppers often, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And dentists and Kai, is there a job that you would say, maybe not?
I think I very much share Dave's view on it. I think, with moderation and understanding your self-limits, and certainly I know how I've got different uses for the plant in different instances and different circumstances. It wouldn't be fair for me to say, no, I wouldn't trust the surgeon who smokes weed, because, I know full well that it, might give him everything that he needs to be the best that he can be. So I think each person is different, and each person has to, be responsible enough to know when to smoke, when not to smoke, and also what to smoke, because dacha isn't just dacha, it's
Yeah.
different strains
It's a
have
lot more
different
complex.
different strains can have different effects on you, and as such you need to be wary of those things. So it's education, I think, is probably the most important. Be informed about what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, I haven't made up my mind on this yet. I think, as you guys are saying, moderation, impairment, words like that. But also, it's one of those things you're always going to judge within yourself. It's also one of those things when it does happen, it's a horror story. We see people latch onto it for the smallest thing. But maybe in a weird way, it should almost be not compulsory or encouraged per se, but really tolerated within certain industries. Because fuck, bro, if I was gonna pick fruit all day,
Smoke.
Yeah.
that's all, bro. Hey,
Everyone's moaning all day. Are you joking?
need
I
dabs
thought
on
it's
drip, bro.
just- Literally.
So this pub that I used to run with a farm community that supported us, and a lot of them, their staff must please smoke before work because they get the best day done. They said they grow their papagais like there next to the barn, and they take care of it and they harvest it themselves and whatever, and it's cool. Then they work. Then
No,
everybody's calm and
sure.
yeah.
My father had a worker on his farm where he banned them from smoking and quickly came to realize that
Worst
production
thing
went
could've done,
down.
yeah. Yep.
Morale also goes down.
Yeah,
Pat.